All right. Hello, Gun Nation. How's everyone doing this evening? We'll give it a minute, let everybody catch up. I've been saying hi to some peeps. We'll give you a loud shout out. Got Pistol Pete in the house. He's the first one in. We got Lynn Holt. He was second. We got Mr. Floridian or Flo Rida himself in the house. Rich B. Hope y'all are all doing well. Yeah, somebody is on vacation and not helping Hawaii, but damn sure helping the crane. What's up, Mike? Hi, how are you? Dirt Track, how are you? Hello, Brian. Hope you were doing well. But yeah, sending all the money out of the United States, but nobody's helping Hawaii. And what's crazy is hell, there's a military base there. My wife's cousin is actually stationed there, and we talked to him. I guess it was the night before because we were checking on him, and he's fine. Um, but per him, I said, "Are y'all helping there?" And per him, he said they've been told that they can't really help right now. So I don't know what that means. If it's an order, he couldn't get into it, but so that is where he's stationed. Hello, Clyde Cumberland. How are you? Dennis Buckner. Hey, what's funny, Dennis Buckner? I actually met a Dennis Buckner yesterday. And I was like, I know it wasn't you, but I thought that was kind of funny that y'all had the same name. Hello, Red Menace. How are you? So hopefully y'all can see and hear me well. Uh, oh man, did a bunch of driving today. Yep, I heard the exact same thing, Brian. Yep, I think like what 60% of his presidency's been on vacation. Hello, Fina. How are you? Yep, yep, yep. He's got more important things. You know, probably eating pudding and yelling bingo. That's what he needs to be doing, getting his diaper changed. All right, just so y'all know, I don't know if he's going to be in the side chat tonight. Um, Trigger Bar Philosopher will actually be on next Wednesday night's chat. So he has a channel. If y'all want to go check it out, it's Trigger Bar Philosopher. And I tried and it won't let me leave a link. So I don't know what the hell's going on. But he will be on next week's chat. So we're going to be kind of diving into what he likes and kind of digging into some of that. So hopefully y'all enjoy it. But good signal. Okay, good, good, good. Yeah, it showed to have good internet, but you never know about some of these streams. Yeah, I was going to say I'd love to do that too. Let's see here. Kick some tires and take some shots. Hello, Scott79. How are you? But yeah, it seems like his whole, well, you know, if I say what I want to say, I mean, a lot of these chats have been getting demonetized anyway because some of the stuff I talk about. What's up, Norwood? How are you? I was in Wichita Falls Monday and Tuesday night. Tonight I am in Weatherford, Texas, because I've got a meeting and stuff in the morning. So I'll be in this area, and then I'll be headed home tomorrow afternoon or headed towards home. I'm not that far away from home, but I just decided to stay here tonight because I've got meetings tomorrow in this area. Oh, DC is having a PBR at Buffalo Wild Wings with you. Awesome, man. Man, Pabst Blue Ribbon. God, I remember those days. PBR. Holy crap. Uh, man, I remember, and I know I know there'll be some people on here probably like Lynn Holt, Pistol Pete. Some of those guys might remember, but they might not because it is a Texas beer. Pearl beer. Just curious if any of y'all remember Pearl or Pearl Light. What's crazy is I actually have an old school aluminum. It was my dad's. It's solid aluminum Pearl Light or Pearl cooler. Super rare. These coolers are, but anyway, I have it. I was thinking about restoring it. You can still see pearl on it really good, but the cushion or the it was kind of like it snapped on the top, but the vinyl around it started kind of getting funky, so it needs to be rewrapped with vinyl on the top of it. I was thinking, man, I could probably do it with leather or something, make it look kind of cool. Hello, Jason Fisher. How are you? Says Big Johnson. Hope you're well. And thoughts on the leaking out of Big Fanny in Atlanta. They had cameras marching around the court, and the judge had his re-election information on the TV in court. I did not hear about that. I've been really swamped. So yeah, Floridian. Okay, you remember Pearl? Yeah. Yeah, Pearl, Louisiana Dixie Beer. Yeah, Falstaff. I don't remember Falstaff. People are slightly above the quality for the beer bong, slightly. Yeah, you know what's really funny is we always used to make fun of PBR, and then it had had a relaunch, and now everybody, even my kid was like, "Man, have you had PBR?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I've had it." Not fond memories because back then it was, you were drinking more than you could taste. Hello, Abigail. How are you? Milwaukee's Beast. That's what we used to call it. Oh yeah, my Kai. I got the Pabst Blue Ribbon on my mind. Oh yeah, man. They had some. I mean, Lone Star. That was really big too. Um, with the armadillo and everything on it. And then some people got upset there was an armadillo on it. It used to have a Texas and an upside armadillo with the Texas emblem on the top of the armadillo. And then they went away. The armadillo went away because people were upset that it was I don't know. That it was on its back like it was getting ran over or some shit. I don't know. Yes, I remember Mad Dog 2020. I remember Strawberry Hill. I remember Purple Passion. Oh my gosh, man, I remember all that crap. Hello, Trigger Bar. Yeah, we were just talking about you. This is Trigger Bar. He will actually be on the chat next Wednesday night, like I was saying. Slits Malt Liquor Bull. Man, I remember, who was it? Billy D. Williams did Slits Malt Liquor Bull. Or was that something else that he did? I can't remember. Who knows? Jason, I mean, they're doing anything they can to wrap him up. It's crazy. Jaeger Bomb, yeah, I remember Wild Irish Rose. I don't remember that. I remember when people like used to do uh, Jaeger, and then people would freak out about it because it was like warm, and now everybody's drinking cold Jaeger. So I remember the old days. Four Loco, holy crap, man! I remember that too. Good lord, that stuff killed some people. Billy D did Colt 45. That's right. You're exactly right, Clyde. I remember that Colt 45. Billy D. Williams. Yeah, Jaeger will make you forget your name. Thunderbird and grapefruit juice. Holy shit. Yeah. Little gin and juice. But yeah, Trigger Bar will be on next Wednesday night. So I'm going to go over everything with him, get his opinions on a lot of things. So please tune in for that. And tonight, I was talking, you can see the title of it, Can You Buy Better? And I kind of made it sound funny on purpose. But what I was meaning is I've had a lot of people, say, oh, Hang on. Sorry about that. I guess I bumped the wire and something happened. Okay. All right. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. No, it's not a dead battery, and the internet's fine. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Hope y'all didn't bail on me. No, I had a wire. One of my little for my webcam was bent, and I was trying to move it back, and I guess it's probably got a short in it. I probably need to order another one. Um, yeah, YouTube kicked me off. But anyway, what the hell was I talking about? Hopefully, y'all can see and hear me and all that good stuff. Okay, good. Yeah, I was just testing y'all, making sure y'all were still with me. But what I was talking about is can you buy better? And what I was meaning by that is I always get asked all the time, if I buy this, will it make me better? If I shoot this particular gun, will it make me better? Blah, blah, blah. And of course, if you got the fundamentals down, and this is kind of where I was going with this, if you've got the fundamentals down, you've got a good grip, you've got all of this other stuff, and you've got a gun with a 10-pound trigger, and then you've got a gun with a 3-pound trigger, what do you think is going to help you shoot better? If you're comparing the same gun, same exact gun, like a Glock with a 10-pound trigger and a Glock with a 3-pound trigger, what do you think you're going to shoot better? Probably. Because with a heavy trigger, when you're trying to crank that thing back, you could get a little bit of shake, which is going to throw your sights or your optic off. So, yes, in my opinion, a better trigger, whether it be on an AR or a pistol or whatever, can actually help you shoot better if you've got the fundamentals down. You know, I've shot plenty of mil spec triggers from way back in the day because that's all they had, pretty much. So, yeah, if you've got your fundamentals down, if you use a better trigger on your AR, it is going to help you shoot better. That's just kind of how it is. Also, with your optics, like if you get a scope and you've got poor glass versus crystal clear glass, you're going to spend more for it, but can that help you become a better shooter? Well, yeah, I mean, if you can, see the button on his shirt, yeah. But if you're looking for the button on his shirt and it's just all blobby and you're not going to be as accurate with that shot. So there are things that can make you better. A better gun belt can support your holster better. So that's a benefit. A better holster can keep your gun, from wiggling all around and everything. So that's better. But what I was meaning, or as I always tell everybody, it could be better for you. Like what you think is the best, I might not think the best, or what I think the best is, you might not think the best is. So there's not a best, it's individual preference. So if you buy a gun and you really love it and you really like the trigger and all of that other stuff, I say, because I get this all the time. You've got like a tricked out custom 2011 with a 3-pound trigger or 2-pound trigger. And then I hear people say, well, I can take my Glock 19, which is lighter and not as good a trigger, stock Glock 19, and they're like, oh, I can shoot my Glock 19, better than I can that 2011. And I always ask, have you tried that 2011, or have you tried that better trigger, or have you tried that better scope? And people are like, well, I don't need to. And I'm like, okay, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just saying, don't knock something until you've actually tried it. I get it all the time. I don't need a sight or an optic on my gun. My irons are the best. Okay. Well, they might be for you, but for aging eyes and things like that, if I can get any kind of little benefit to help me, such as a better trigger, and also crappy triggers to me, and call me a trigger snob, call me what you want, but I see no reason in hell to have a shitty trigger. I just don't. I've been there, done that, shot them. Y'all got to remember, I'm old. I've shot the 10-pound triggers. I've shot the 12-pound triggers on guns back in the day. Yes, I can shoot them. If you've got a good solid grip and you're not shaking, doesn't matter how you pull the trigger, you're going to get a decent shot. But can you get a better shot with a better trigger? Yes. So that's kind of where I was going with that. I mean, probably in the past probably 4 days, 4 or 5 days, I think I've been asked about 7 or 8 questions. Will this make me better? Will that make me better? I don't know. I don't know your grip. I haven't watched you shoot. I don't know anything about you. To say it's going to make you better, I don't know. But I do know a better trigger, better optics, better sight. Things can improve and help you. Should you use it as a crutch? No. But if it can enhance your shooting and make you a better shooter and you're more comfortable with it, why not use it? So, because a lot of people run mil spec triggers on AR-15s, and they'll shoot some groups, and then all of a sudden they'll have 2 or 3 flyers, and they'll be like, oh man, I pulled that one, and you'll know if you've shot enough, you'll know if you've pulled the shot, and that happens with everybody, even with a great trigger, but with a smooth, really light trigger, I mean, you can have some badass groups. So yeah, I've shot like hell back in the day. Well, and some of y'all might be younger, but back in the day, I mean, almost every freaking gun came with. Now, my very very first gun I got in 1986, and I still own it. That gun stock, the double action was like probably 12 or 13 pounds, but the single action was like 3 pounds. And you can just cock it back and shoot it in single action if you want to. But and you're exactly right. I mean, you can spend and spend and spend and spend, and that does, if you just keep, you can't buy a grip, a correct grip. You just can't. But you can't buy the basics. Let's do it that way. But if you've got the fundamentals down and you've earned a hat and a t-shirt doing this long, man, get what you want, use what you want. Because I get beat up all the time. Oh, you don't need a 2 pound trigger. You're going to kill somebody. That's stupid to have a 2 or 3 pound trigger. That's dumb. No, don't speak out your ass when you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I agree. That's kind of what I was saying, trigger bar. Yep, I agree. But can better optics, better triggers, and think you make you even more proficient than where you are now? If you've got the basics down, yes, it can. But by a new gun coming out, some new polymer wonder, is it going to change the world? No. If it's something like you've tried double action, single action, and then you go to a lighter striker fire, could that help? Yes, it could. Or if you've never tried a 2011 or a 1911, could that make you more proficient? It could, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, man, I hear it all the time. Oh, just buy more ammo and train. It's like, dude, man, I've shot more ammo than, well, never mind. And I do like to try new things. Rise armament, Geisley triggers, and all my ARs, and the favorite handgun I own is the PPQ Steyr and CZ-P10C. Yeah, I've got some Rise armament. I don't have any Geisley triggers anymore. I used to have one in my other gun, but almost all, I mean, none of my ARs have, well, I'll take that back. One AR has a stock mil-spec trigger. All the rest of them are changed. I've got CMGs. I've got Rise armament. I've got POF. I've got, I like in my ARs, I like about a 3.5 pound trigger. That's what I have in most of them. I think one of them I've got a 4 pound trigger. Even in my AR-10, I've got a three. No, oh, take that back. No, actually, that one is a Hyperfire. I own a bunch of Hyperfire Clips triggers also. Those things are money. I really like those a lot. I think they're 3.5 pounds, 3 pounds. But I do have pistols that have 2 pound triggers. And people are like, what? That's crazy. I'm like, if your booger finger's not on the bang switch, it's not going to go off. And you have external safeties on a 2011. Yeah, and I mean a double action, as long as it stays smooth and not a stagey, jerky ass trigger. Yeah, I mean how I have a lot of my double actions are stock. Yep. Hey, Screaming Skulls, how are you? Yep, master grip, trigger finger placement, and sight picture are key. That's true. And I don't have. I mean, and y'all probably see it in some of the videos. I don't have. I have and you can kind of see it like when I clench. You can see it a little bit in videos. I have a little bit of a tremor. It's not bad. It's just as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little bit of tremor. So I'm not like a bullseye shooter. I could tear your chest up. I could tear your head up. So don't worry about that. But I'm not as steady as I used to be. It's probably going to get worse. It's hereditary. My grandmother had it. My father has it. So I've gotten it over the years. It's a little worse. LaRue triggers. I have never owned one, William, but I have shot them. A buddy of mine has one in his, and it's a nice trigger. And they have a more budget friendly one that's really not a bad price. And I really like CMGs also because they are made in Texas and they're very reasonable. The price wise, very reasonable, just like Rise Armament. Len Holt says, "Yeah, you're going to have to go grind it out on the range and figure out fundamentals learned on a Smith& Wesson Model 10, crappy trigger. I learned through and could hold it to a small pipe plate. Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you've got the basics, upgrade if you want to. You've earned it. You've got the hat and the t-shirt. That's what I said. I don't worry about that. Yeah, that's what I was saying. LaRue triggers are a really good price. I know he bought his for like, I want to say it was like on sale for like 70 something bucks. And yeah, I mean, it keeps up with plenty of mine. David Wilcott says, open question, how are Smith & Wesson M&P 9 millimeters? Great guns. Um, Nothing wrong with them. The 2.0 is really nice. I have some Smith & Wessons. I mean, hell, I think I've got shit 4 or 5 of them. Great company, great warranty. If anything goes bad, they get the lifetime warranty on it, except for my 1986 because they don't make any parts for it anymore. Um, but I mean, nothing wrong with them at all. A lot of people really love them. The double action on PO7 Cajun Gunwork trigger is so light, I almost prefer it to the single action. Yeah, on my PO7s and PO9s, they're actually 100% stock. I got so used to shooting them, and they're really worn. I mean, they're good and broken in. When you first get them, they're kind of crunchy, and you got to put about 300 rounds through them to get to kind of grit out. But all of those are stock. I mean, I've shot Cajun Gunwork stuff before in the PO7 and the PO9 and the PO1. Great products, all of that good stuff, along with CZ Customs. But on the PO9 and the PO7, I kind of like them stock. So, but it's whatever you prefer. Like I say, and y'all know this about me, I don't tell anybody what to shoot, what to carry, what to do. Somebody was asking me what my carry gun is this week. I am running the P10C. That's what I've got this week. I've been running it for, I don't know, about, should have been running it for about 3 weeks straight. And nothing wrong with it. Staccato's not on, going up or anything. It's just, I'm just like, I want to carry the P10C more. So that's what I've been doing. Yep. Pistol Pete, you got a good memory, man. Yep, 7 up, 3 down, had his PO7 done up, and you guys compared them. Yeah, I took his and mine. He had the Cajun Gunworks Pro Kit, the whole works in his. I had done nothing to mine, went the same distance, same ammo and everything, and I shot the exact same groups, same rate of speed. You can watch that video. It's an old video. But, and honestly, just because I have so much time behind that PO7, I really couldn't tell the difference. I mean, both of them were just as accurate to me, for saving the money. But for another person who's not super familiar with that gun, they might, really prefer the Cajun Gunworks setup. Realizing every gun is different, how many rounds does it usually take to break the trigger into its best point? Man, that's a that's a hard question because it's going to vary. I mean, Glocks, like if you're shooting stock Glock triggers, and I hate them. I hate them with a passion. Reason being is you got that stupid safety in the middle, and it's not a flat face trigger. It's kind of got that point in it, and man, it just chews my finger apart. I mean, I've actually had blood. I've showed it in a video way back when I was shooting it so much. I actually had blood from where that little stupid safety is, how it's pointed. I just hate the stock Glock trigger. But breaking in a Glock trigger, I'd say you're going to get used to it if you only shoot that gun. And also don't just go and shoot one time 300 rounds through it on one session. Do multiple sessions. So because one day you might have a lot of salt, so your finger's going to feel differently. The next day you might have a lot of water, so your finger's going to feel differently. So I say run multiple sessions with it, with any gun. Also, vary your ammo, 115, 124, plus P if that's what you want to run. I'm not a big plus P guy. I've shot tons of it, but it doesn't do shit for me. Um, and it's an overpressured round in your chamber. I don't feel that I need it. In some areas you might. Um, but it's up to you there. Depending on the gun, if it's double action, single action, it's going to take a little more break in. You know, I'd say within 1,000 rounds, you're probably going to be pretty good. However, past that 1,000 rounds, it's still going to get even better. It's just going to smooth out. You can actually take a brand new gun, and Glock, you can do this too. You can take it out, do a 25-cent trigger job where you're just polishing everything, and you're just basically putting premature wear on it by polishing it all out, taking the grit out of it. So you can do that instantly and then have a nicer trigger if that's what you want to do. You can use a Q-tip and a little bit of polishing compound, do the same thing, or fits. I think it's called fits. But whatever you want to do there. But it's going to vary with shooting it. All right, Abigail, take care. Hello, Pranic. How are you? David says, for me, a 4 or 5 pound trigger is good for bear defense pistol. Not sure for anything else, though. Yeah, I mean, it's whatever, like I said, it just really whatever works for you. Taylor Brown, any experience or thoughts on the FN 509 series? I own one. I took a 509 and turned it into a tactical. I had it milled and all that other stuff, the extended mag, the whole works. Um, made it optic ready and, did some stuff to it. It's got the Apex fluted barrel in it, threaded with a comp. I think the 509 is a great gun. A lot of people don't like it. I do prefer it with the Apex trigger. I've said that numerous times. I also have the FNS. I'm a big FN person. I have a bunch of them. I think the 509 is a great gun. Nothing wrong with it at all. I mean, they're pretty, when you pull them apart, they're definitely made for longevity. They're overbuilt. FN's always been known for that. I mean, I have never, ever had an FN break, never had anything go wrong with it. I mean, they're great. So, some people don't prefer them because of the stock trigger. However, if you go in the store and start finger banging it, you're going to be like, man, this trigger is not that great. However, the more you shoot it, the better the stock trigger gets. I still prefer the Apex trigger in it. Hope that helps you, Taylor. I don't like the little short, the 509, whatever it is, the mid, because my hands are so big, but I do like the regular grip on it. Will camo painting my Vortex Strike Eagle avoid the warranty? Hell, I've got painted scopes. I would just don't paint over. There's a little serial number thing, model number, of course, your adjustments. Don't paint over that. Just tape over it so you won't do it. But many people paint their scopes. So I've never heard of them declining a warranty on it, as long as it's not due to you painting the damn glass or something. Um, I mean, I don't think you're going to have any problems with it. I've never heard them not do a warranty for it. Now, if you get a new scope, you're going to have to repaint it again. But I mean, I know a lot of people that paint their scopes. I don't paint every one of mine, but I do have them painted. And that's another thing. Spray painting a $300 gun, spray painting a $500 or $5,000 rifle. I mean, hell, I've got the expensive one that I've spray painted. Doesn't matter to me. Yeah, they were originally, Scott. They were MIM on the early ones. They already fixed that. However, in mine, I've got all Apex guts. I've got the firing pin. I mean, sear, everything in my 509 is all Apex, inside and out. So the frame and the slide is the only stock parts on mine. But yes, the early ones did have a problem with some of the firing pins breaking because they're MIM. And y'all have heard me talk about MIM many times. Apex makes all the good stuff for it, tool steel, and you won't have any problems after that. But I haven't heard of any of the current ones since they've done the update. That was when they very first released the 509. They had a few of them where the pins did break. Since then, I haven't heard of any issues. Um, yes, and we've got Hawaii with the issues in Hawaii, and JB seems to be vacationing and not worried about that, but he's damn sure taking care of Ukraine. But Hawaii is part of the U.S., and he didn't give two shits, but, you know, to be expected. Um, oh, it was funny. The other day, I got something in the mail from DPS, Department of Public Safety, and I was out of town, and I was like, "Holy crap! What happened? Did I get a ticket?" You know, I'm like, I haven't seen doing tickets by the mail in a long time. So I was out of town. I had my wife open it, and I said, "What's that DPS thing?" And anyway, she opened it, and she said, "Oh, it's your renewal for your LT, for your license to carry." And I was like, man, I have done so many of those over my lifetime. I remember back when we had to go in and get refingerprinted and all that other crap, back before they had all the online stuff. I mean, I've been carrying that long. Uh, I can't remember even the year that they, you know, you could get your LTC because I got it. Like, I mean, well, I'm sure y'all know what I'm about to say. Even prior to having your license, uh, but I can't remember when Texas made it to where you could legally carry. But I got it that same year. But then you had to go to these different tables. You had to get your picture done, your fingerprints done at a different place, and then you had to get all your paperwork together, put it all in one envelope, and mail it off, and wait like 6 months. I mean, it was a big old pain in the butt. But now everything's online, so it's so much easier. Ooh, Pistol Pete saying CZ may be dropping their new pistol on Saturday. That's awesome. I have not heard about that. I know DC said I'm going to be taking some pics and sharing it with you all. Yeah, please email it to me. I'd love to see it. Who knows? Well, when it comes to any other states, territories that are not connected to the lower 48s, feds don't really care as much, sadly. Yeah, I mean, just ride your bike, and be oblivious. Man, LPVO, ACOG, or red dot and magnifier for general purposes, all around defensive setup. Call me what you want to call me, but for that setup, I would go. I would go. I would go red dot magnifier. Reason being, flip the magnifier out of the way. You've got your red dot. That's going to take care of probably 90% of the average person's use. If you got it stretched out, you got a magnifier. Uh, LPVOs are kind of bulky, clunky. If you have a side mount, I run some 45-degree offset red dots on my scopes. It's okay, but I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I just find it more useful to have a red dot and a magnifier. Nothing wrong with ACOGs; they're actually great. I just don't think for up close and personal, they're all that great. So I would still go red dot magnifier. I don't know, Scott. They came out with the P10 tactical, threaded barrel, all that stuff, optic ready. So who knows what's next? I'll be excited to see though. I don't know if it's going to be anything earth shattering other than the Shadow 2, or the compact Shadow 2. Big Johnson, maybe you answered this and I missed it, but do you have any thoughts on the Ruger SR 1911? Rugers aren't bad. Their 1911s are not bad. There are a lot of MIM parts in it, which I am not a big fan of MIM parts. And the reason I say this is on 1911s, I have broke MIM parts. I've said that before. I'm into tooled steel, billet, something a little more heavy duty quality, but they'll work. The triggers aren't that great. I've shot them before. I think they need to be a lot lighter for a 1911 personally, but if you shoot it and you like it, run it. As far as do they run, most of them are throated properly and the ramps are proper, so I haven't really seen any running problems out of them. I have out of the earlier Kimbers. I know someone who has one and he really likes it. He's got a crap load of rounds through it, so ACOG is pricey. Ooh, uh, I don't have any experience with the crams, so I really don't know on that one. MIM part, it's MIM, it's metal injection molded. So what they do is they have a little tray, like for a firing pin, and they pour metal in it, it hardens, then they pull the pin out, polish it, put it in. If it's not, or they heat treat it too. If it's not heat treated properly, it can get brittle and break. There's just, metal injection molding is in your cars, it's in your washing machines, it's in guns, it's in a lot of things. But over a long period of time, if you abuse it and you really, really use it, they break. They do. So now you can harden them and make them really, really proper, and they'll last a long time. Hell, Glock has MIM firing pins. I mean, most of all your striker fire. Hell, even my CZ does. But they seem to last when they're properly done. Ruger has great customer service as well. I own Rugers. I mean, I just don't really care for their 1911s personally, but for the price point, I would still save up and get something different, but that's just me. Hello, Hot Pot. How are you doing? Yeah, Hot Pot got a sweet Tanfolio. Really nice pistol. Yeah, I'm having problems with scope shadow using my LPVO, thinking about switching to RDS, but I will try to train through it before I switch. If you're getting scope shadow, you got to be right behind the eye box. And I will tell you this, I'm not trying to knock anybody or any products. Some scopes, cheaper budget type scopes, will have more scope shadow than some of your bigger one power, like the Razor, that thing, man, now when you really compress it down, you can get a little scope shadow. But what I always try to say, and this is something you can try too, I prefer 193 mounts because I have a big old long neck and a big old head. If you're crunching down on it, it's not comfortable. So if you're running like a co-witness mount or something like that, you can get more scope shadow because your head's wanting to be more upright and you're having to crank it. It's kind of weird to, kind of crank it down and look up. Sometimes you'll get more scope shadow just by the mount. So if you try a mid-size mount or a higher mount, that could take your scope shadow completely away, even on a cheaper mount. So something you could try. Not saying it's a cure-all, but I've experimented with that same thing myself. Any advice and thoughts on firearm storage? Been looking at Liberty and Fort Knox. Also, the Gallo Tech cabinets look great too. Yeah, the Gallo Techs and things like that, or if you have kids and you're just, you want to see it and things like that, there's also some other versions of that. As far as the best safes in the business, in my opinion, you can't beat a Liberty. Liberty Fat Boys, all your Liberty safes are good to go. So, some of them are more expensive than some of the Fort Knoxes and things like that. But when you start peeling those doors open, you will notice the cheapness of them. Liberties, Liberty makes a budget version, and then they make the more expensive versions. But honestly, you really can't go wrong with a Fat Boy. Um, I've got a, I've got my, I've got them. And they work really well. They're heavy duty. Um, the fire rating is true. Also, when you're looking at safes, they're going to give you a fire rating. Those are in-house fire ratings that they've tested supposedly themselves. There's not a standard company that checks fire ratings and things like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. There's some cheap, Chinese made ones that, man, you can get into with a freaking crowbar, and they've got like all these, big, oh, they're they're this and that and so thick and all this. A lot of those are actually not forged. You can actually take a screwdriver and stick through the gap and hit it with a serious hammer, like a sledgehammer, and shatter them. Literally shatter them. You don't even need a saw. You can shatter them. So just keep that in mind. But get what you can afford. I mean, you're just trying to slow them down. That's what you're trying to do. Yeah, Ruger revolvers are good to go. Oh, okay. Len Holt says Wilson Combat has a sale going on. Get a free case of ammo, 400 rounds, uh, with an in-stock firearms purchase. Case of ammo to me is 1,000 rounds, but I know what you're saying. Ammo's good. Free ammo's better. Yeah, I have the Prism optics, and I do really like them. I mean, they're great. It's just if I had a choice for kind of a do-all, you know, red dot and magnifier, that's kind of, and you can do that with Prism as well. And the Prism, you've got the edge to reticle, so you don't have to worry about battery issues. But you know, it's whatever you choose to get. Yeah, I've seen the 5X. Matter of fact, I could probably just reach out to them. They'd send me one, but I just haven't had a chance to test it. So, like I said, it just depends on the way that you like to set up on the gun. And I'll tell you this: here's what I did. I like to be more of a heads up shooter. If it's going to be for a self defense gun, think about it this way: if it's going to be a self defense type gun, it's better to be a heads up shooter than have it crunched way down, because there's two fields of this. If you get a really tall mount and then you're going to be in the prone a lot, the high mount's going to suck because you're literally craning your neck up when you're in the prone position, and it sucks. So you don't want that. If it's going to be a prone gun, get lower mounts. If it's going to be, you know, heads up shooting, higher mount. And also, what I find when I shoot the 193, I have better peripheral vision, and I can see like things even around the scope much better. I don't hone in on the little tube when I've got my head all hunkered down like a turtle. Um, I did a bunch of experimentation with this. I bought a bunch of different mounts. Uh, I would say go with a good quality mount, but I really like the 193. I like it way more than I thought that I would, but it just depends on what you like. Everybody's going to be different, but on my prone guns, I do the shorter ones. My heads up guns, I do the taller ones. So, what's the difference between small, middle, and high scope rings? A lot of the scopes have a larger bell housing, towards that. If you're too high, it's going to be way height over bore, and that's another thing with the 193. You are going to be higher, way higher with height over bore. So on your close-up shots, you're going to need to account for that because your bore's here and your scope, is way up here. So measure that, and that's where you need to aim down for close quarters, so to say. And I'm not an expert. I'm not a trainer. Please don't. I'm not. I'm speaking from what I've experienced. Not. I don't train people. Not a special force or any of that kind of stuff. Never claimed to be. But definitely be aware of height over bore. You will have to take that into account, even with if you get a high mount for your red dots, because I prefer the high mounts for my red dots, even 193 for my red dots. So it just makes me more comfortable. I can shoot longer. I don't have to fatigue. I don't have to, crunch down. And I hate that tactical turtle shit. I just don't like it. But that's kind of what you want. If you're going to be doing prone, you want your scope bell housing on the front to be as close to the rail as you can get. So you might have to use a medium ring for that, because if you use a low, your bell housing is going to hit the rail. So, but if you go too high, then you're going to have a big old gap sticking up. So that's why you have short, mediums, and highs. And depending on how you want to shoot. And that's going to vary on short, mediums, and high, because I have them all. It depends on who makes them, because you can get like 3 sizes of short, you can get like 3 sizes of medium in some high-end brands, and you can get 3 or 4 sizes of high. So there's not a standard. Let me catch back up here real quick. Have you seen or had any experience with the newer Zenith, the MP5 style clones? I have not. I mean, I haven't personally shot one, so I don't want to say, I'll tell you the truth on everything. I've personally not shot one. I have shot the MP5s, the real MP5s. I think they're cool. I think they're not for me. I'm not saying I would never, if somebody gave me one, I would keep it, but they're just they don't really do anything for me. I've owned the CZ Scorpions, which are similar. They were fun. They shot great. Um, I think out of all of them, a roller delay is better than like the CZ Scorpion, because you have the big block that's coming back, bang, 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 and it's not that it hurts or it's recoil, because I'm not recoil sensitive. It's annoying. With the roller delay, you don't have that problem. So Dirt Track has one, said it shoots great. So there you go. There you go. Anyone tried those suburban I can't even speak, AKs and 308 Winchester? How are they in your opinion? I have not tried them. I love 308. That's one of my favorite rounds. I've talked about it many, many times. Um, Granted, if it was your go to war, it would be a pain in the ass to carry all that ammo, because 308 is much heavier, much bulkier. The mags are much heavier. You can't carry as much ammo, if you're physically carrying it on your person. I've got a chest rig. It's set up for a 308. I can carry 4 308 mags in it, and then I've got 308 mag attachments for my battle belt too, so I can carry 2 there. But in a 308, and I've got small 308s, big 308s. I would prefer it or 300 block out for penetration through car doors, concrete, any kind of barrier, versus a 5.56 223. I've said that numerous times as well, but it's whatever you choose. And if you are running a 5.56 223, for shit hit the fan, I highly, highly, highly recommend at least 77 grain. Don't get out there with no 55 grain. Either that or just run out there with your 22. You'll do just as good. What do you think of something like an 80-20 method of training where 80% is using 22 LR for AR and pistol training, the rest 5.56 and 9mm? Nothing wrong with that at all. I have uh, I have an actual M&P 1522, and I love it. It is awesome. The only thing that can be a difference, recoil, of course, and loudness. Um, but what I find is the weight of the rifle. Most of your 1522s or 22 type rifles are polymer, where your other ones are aluminum, at least. So you can have a weight difference. And if you train with your 1522, I would say run the same type optic, the same type flashlight, add a little bit more weight to it. You can even put weight plates on it, where it's just like solid pick rail. You can actually put that on the bottom if you want to, and then weigh it compared to your factory shit hit the fan AR-22 or 1520, or excuse me, AR-15, and try to get the weight the same. Try to just so that way you can feel, because it's the same setup as far as your trigger. And even on my 1522, I've got a Rise armament trigger in my 1522, so I've got a really good trigger just like I have in my AR-15s, because the stock 1522 trigger sucks. It's just mil spec. Yep, AK 762 by 39. I mean, that's 300 blackout. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I prefer a 30 cal. But yeah, train with your 22. There's nothing wrong with that. And y'all know I've got the CMMG, where you put the bolt in your real AR and you put the 22 bolt in it and you run the 22 mags. And I've ran it already in 2 different ARs, and those CMMG mags suck. I'll just be honest with you. I even showed it in the video. They suck. They're shitty to load. They just don't. I've changed out the buffer. I've done different things. They just don't run that great to where it's just consistent. Sometimes I'll get a consistent run and then it'll just go to hell. And I'll clean it. I mean, oil it, do it all properly. And sometimes those mags just run like dog shit. But I have heard that the Black Dog mags are much more reliable than the CMMG mags. I just haven't bought any yet. What's up, M. Gabriel? How are you? I do not have any experience with the heat seeker chassis for the Ruger. I do not. Don't have any experience with that. Also, I don't know if I've told y'all, but I love messing with my wife. Hell, we've been married going on 31 years, and I love messing with her. I'll send her these dumb memes and stuff, and she'll be like, "Oh my God, you're an idiot." And like I said, she's my best friend. I love joking around with her. We have a good time. That's probably why we've been married so damn long, because she tolerates my crap. But anyway, and she doesn't care that I buy guns and do all that other stuff. Like I said, no problems with that. But I was goofing around with her and sent her some funny pictures earlier, and she was laughing and calling me an idiot. She calls me dumb, just goofing around. Mini 14, nothing wrong with it. If that's what you like, shit, run it. They are a little heavier. They can get kind of bulky, but they work. So, hello, Lake Ozark guy. How are you? But yeah, Mini 14s have been around forever, so I mean, nothing wrong with them. Sometimes, if I remember right, well, no, I think there is some companies making more of them now. At one time, this was back a while ago, I think they were having a hard time. People were having a hard time finding mags for them, if I remember right. I could be wrong, but I had some people reach out saying they were having problems finding mags. Maybe that was during the I don't know. Yes, Taylor, I have shot them. Great guns. They're out of Plano, Texas, really close to where I live. Do recommend them. I like their optic mounting system, the way that you can put multiple optics on it. I think that's genius. Nothing bad to say about them. If I were going to buy a Glock type pistol, and I own Glocks, but if I didn't and I was going to want a Glock type pistol, it would definitely be a Shadow System. And they have so many options depending on what you want. But I think they make good guns. And hell, by the time you buy a Glock and you mill it or whatever, put an optic on it, put a threaded barrel in it, put good sights on it, put a good trigger in it, do all that other stuff, you're usually priced higher than one of the upper Shadow systems. So nothing wrong with them at all. DC says, "What does your wife like to shoot?" Believe it or not, she loves 22s. Um, her favorite her favorite gun of mine to shoot is the Taurus TX 22 competition. She can flat fly with that thing. She is accurate as hell with that thing. And she shoots 9 millimeters and stuff, but the loud bang kind of gets to her. Not that well, I mean, she's a woman. She is a little recoil sensitive. I mean, I'm not trying to say men aren't, some men aren't, but a little more recoil sensitive, because of the loud bang. But man, she can shred with that TX22 competition. She absolutely loves that thing. That's probably her favorite gun to shoot. Yes, I have. Yeah, I've seen him troll the shit out of them. He's done it at Dallas. He's done it at Plano. Um, I think he did it. Yeah, that was the Plano, Collin County. He did it somewhere else too. Did he go to Austin? I think he did it in Austin too. I think he showed up at some Austin thing. I think it was outside though. He wasn't inside, but I think he was outside. I haven't seen one for a Makarov. I've got one for my CZP09, the 22 conversion, and it works well. And a buddy of mine has one for his PO7, and it works well too. The only bad thing is it only comes with 10 round mags. That just sucks nowadays. Oh, I did want to tell y'all something also. I forgot to tell you. Um, and it's right there on the counter, but the CZ P10C holster that I had been testing from the Armsman. I've got a video on it, all that other stuff. That holster with the TLR7A on it, it's really crazy. It will actually fit my my SIG P322 with the TLR7A because I've got a 7A on it as well. It fits that holster perfectly. So I can take the P10C out of it. I can put the SIG P322 in it with a TLR7A and the little threaded barrel, with the knurling on it because it's open on the end. And I can just, dry fire or not dry fire. You can dry fire the P322, but I mean, I can just, practice shoot with it from inside waistband, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper than using 9 millimeter. And that holster does work for it, so that's pretty cool. And the Glock fits in it too with the TLR7A. So, all right, take care, David. I appreciate it, man. I should pick up a 22 LR conversion kit for my PO7, but the mags are only 10 rounds that I've found. Yeah, that's true. I haven't seen any bigger than 10 round mags. And plus, if you buy those mags separately, I mean, it comes with, I think, 2 or 3. I think it's 2, if I remember right. Uh, those mags are freaking expensive too. If you have to buy them after the fact, or they used to be. Maybe they've gone down in price. But yeah, we've only got a couple of minutes. If there's anything else y'all can think about, and remember, next week, next Wednesday night, Trigger Bar Philosopher will be on the live chat. So if y'all got questions for him, or if you want to go over and check out his videos, please do. Good guy, tested. Been testing the Ruger SFAR a lot. So if you got any questions on that, we'll probably get into some 308 talk, AR-15 talk, pistol talk. He also has a lab radar. I believe he reloads. So he should be a really good guest. And we'll get, holy crap, Paradox, what in the hell are you doing, dude? I have not seen you in forever, man. Paradox 2311. Man, long time no see, brother. I hope you are doing well. Hello, Abigail. Thoughts on the P99? Good gun. Good gun. If that's what you like, get it. It doesn't do that much for me, but it's a good gun. Yeah, we'll like I said, he's got I've noticed some of the stuff, and I've been following Trigger Bar, I guess, since he started YouTube. Um, he likes some of the guns I like. He's also got a lot of 5.7 stuff. So if you're into the 5.7, he can answer a ton of questions. I've shot the 5.7s, not all of them. I've shot a few of them. I used to own the FN 5.7 when it originally came out back in the day, back when the ammo was $90 for a box. And FN was the only one that had it and made it. But you know, what? Hang on a second. Did you hear that Chris isn't doing his live chats anymore? No, Rich, I didn't hear that. What happened? Hell, I know Chris. I need to text him and see. I didn't know that he wasn't doing them anymore. I mean, if y'all want, I mean, I'm sitting here in a hotel. We can go a little bit longer if y'all want to. If you want to shut it down, we can. It's not a problem. We could go another 10 or 15 minutes if y'all want. Yeah, Scott, I saw that where you could buy the slide and buy the lower. What was it, like $3.99 or something, or it was fairly cheap. That's a pretty good deal. Hmm. Keep it running. Okay, we'll go a little bit longer. I wanted to tell you all something else. Also, I did. If y'all want to see it, you can go on the community. I posted that I was going live tonight, and there's something in that picture, and I wanted y'all to see it because I figured I haven't had any, or that I noticed. Probably haven't noticed any of them, but no, I haven't seen anything yet. Um, I posted something on the community tab, and I was surprised somebody hadn't shot me a bunch of messages saying, "What the hell is that?" That's one of the old guns. That's got a lot of sentimental value, and it actually still works. But that is an old rolling lock. I mean, that thing is a hex barrel rolling lock. It is from the early 1900s. That was my grandmother's gun, and I'm gonna let y'all have the sneak peek on it before I probably do a video on it. But it's a rolling lock, or excuse me, yeah, it's a rolling lock, Remington rolling lock 32. Um, but my grandmother used to sit on the front porch with that when she was younger and shoot chickens. And then as she got older, she still sat on the front porch and shot chickens. And while she was shooting the chickens, the reason being is they were eating them. So she'd shoot them, let them run around, die, or fall over, and then she'd go pick them up. So she'd have to chase them around. But anyway, so that thing is, man, it's been in my family for shit over 100 years, I guess. I mean, so it's long, but a lot of people don't know about those, so I'll talk about it. But it's a heavy ass gun for what it is. Uh, let's see here. If you're going longer, what red dot do you like on an EDC? Oh man, um, it doesn't have to be a closed emitter. It doesn't have to be. I do like the closed emitters, and the only reason, and I've said this before, is when you're carrying appendix, we all shed, belly lint, shedding, whatever you want to call it. Okay, your optic is upside down, so any belly lint, dry skin, whatever, it's falling down in there, and it's like a cup, so it just catches all of it. So you periodically blow it out or brush it out or hit it with compressed air. Where the enclosed emitters, when they're upside down, you just got a flat top. If you ever had to, take your shirt, wipe it off, you're done. There's nothing that gets inside there. That is one of the reasons I prefer closed emitters, and one of the other reasons. Um, I've shot in the rain with my open emitter. It gets water in it. It can get into the emitter and kind of mess up the glass, but it has the drain holes in it. So I do like the closed emitters personally. You don't have to have them though. Believe it or not, I really like the Steiner MPS. I think it's great. Gives you a little bit wider window. The Acro is great too. It's a little taller, but kind of like an RMR window, a little taller than an RMR, but as narrow as an RMR. The Steiner is a better price point. Does have a smaller battery, so you're not going to get as long if that's a big deal. I mean, but you can change them out too. It's not that big of a deal. Um, I really like the Steiner. I like the Aimpoint Acro. Out of the mechanisms, so to say, to bolt them down, I think the Acro has the best and most robust um, anchoring down or attachment, if you will, than any of the other ones. The other ones depend on the screws going in it, where that one has a steel bar across it, where it's wedging against the steel bar. That is my favorite attachment. I think it is superior over the others. Um, Hollow Sun makes a really good dot. I really like the ACSS reticle Hollow Sun that's offered through Primary Arms. It's got the big round circle and the chevron, because I do have dual stigmatisms. You can turn off the big ring if you don't want it, but it's kind of a training aid when you're first starting to help you find the dot or the chevron. I think that's a really great option. I personally own, last I checked, it could be more now, but last I checked, I think it was 14 Hollow Sun pistol optics. I have not had one problem with any of them. I also really like the SRO. I do not have any experience with the new Trigicons, so I don't personally have any, so I don't know. SRO is a really good option. I have had one of them shit the bed, but they replaced it. Uh, the Delta Point Pro, I do not like. I hate it. I am not a fan. I've blown out two of them. I only have one left. So I will not ever buy another one unless they come out with something completely different. I think it's completely stupid that you put your finger in the hole to push your button, and then you have to pull your finger out to say, okay, is that bright or dim enough? That's just stupid. Um, I know a lot of people like them. I just don't. So I'm not knocking your optic if that's what you like. Plus, I don't think they're clear for my stigmatism. RMR is a really good dot. I just think it's way old in the tooth, but it is definitely robust. It's probably the king of the dots as far as durability. The Sealeys, believe it or not, I'm actually really liking the Sealeys for the price point. They're kind of hard to beat. I don't have any. I've never tried a Gideon and stuff like Chris has, so I don't know on that personally. Um, those are some of my favorites. I would probably say it's the Hollow Suns, the MPS Steiner, the Acro P2. Um, those are some of my favorites. You know. Yes, and I have. Um, if you were going longer, would you carry a gun with a ported barrel? Yes, and I have. Nothing wrong with it. All the flash and everything people freak out about. Screw that. There's nothing wrong with it. Rolling block, yeah, it's the way that it works is it's a single. Basically, it's one shot. You put your bullet in it. You push the rolling lock up, and it locks it in there. And then your hammer, when it drops, it hits a button on the back of the rolling lock and then fires the cartridge. Rolling locks have been around for a long, long time. The hell, they make them in 7 millimeter. I mean, they make them in all kinds of calibers. This is just a 32. They even make them in 22. Ooh, Man, Pistol Pete, what is your current favorite pistol to shoot at the range? Like number one. I mean, I'm just going to say it. Matter of fact, I've got a video that's going to be coming out. So, kind of a spoiler. Well, not really a spoiler. Um, it's why I'm talking about some certain pistols. Um, my favorite to shoot is definitely 2011s. Um, I really like the C2. I like the P. I like my MPA. Uh, it could vary with the days, but if I'm wanting to go bullseye, let's just say I'll give you two examples. If I'm wanting to go the most accurate pistol that I have for me, and I'm not the most accurate guy in the world, don't get me wrong. My most accurate pistol for me is my MPA DS9 hybrid. It's all steel, steel grip, heavy, 2 pound trigger, uh, SRO. I mean, the thing is butter. So MPA is the best bullseye out there for me. The probably most practical is my Staccato P, all aluminum, with the Threat Cadre comp. Just if I'm going fun, if I want to. Now, both of those guns will run super fast. Uh, the Staccato's got the Atlas trigger in it, flat face trigger. It's better for me than the curved trigger because my fingers are so long. It's a medium. Um, those are probably my two favorite if I have to pick. And of course, I love running 22s. Y'all know that. But if I have to pick, it would be the MPA or the Staccato P. And Screaming Skulls Saloon got it. How about a Swamp Fox? I have Lake Ozark guy. Nothing wrong with them. I know people that run them. I just don't have any true hardcore personal experience with Swamp Fox. I have only shot one. It was the green one, and it was one of their early ones. And it was okay. I think they're way better now. I mean, I shot it when they first. I think it was the first one they released way back when, and it wasn't mine. I just don't have enough experience with them, like a long term thing, to give a full blown report or a full blown opinion that I think that would be valid. So I don't really want to speak on it, honestly. Watch the Sage Dynamics review of the RMR enclosed, whatever that's called, yeah. While it passed his test, he is suspect of the new mounting system. It's a weird way to tighten the screws. I agree with that. When it first came out, I saw those and I'm like, and what you have to do is you put an Allen wrench in there. I don't know if you've seen actually how to put it on. Uh, you put this little piece of paper under the Allen screw and it's got all these lines on it. And you put the screw in there and then you pull it and you tighten it to one of those lines. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I'm used to putting a torque wrench to 15-inch pounds, 18-inch pounds, 13-inch pounds, and screwing it down with a screwdriver or with a regular screwdriver with the bit in it, the 10 torques or 15, whichever one it takes, and then putting it on my fat wrench and cranking it down to the proper torque. That is the technician in me. Pull it to line it up with a piece of paper and a little line. I don't know, that's weird. I'm not saying it's not good and it won't work. It's just weird. Yeah, Floridian, they were saying that Chris is not doing the live chats anymore. So I didn't know. Yeah, the port. Here's the difference, Scott, that I'm going to give my opinion on ports versus comps because I get asked this all the time. All the time. Would you rather have ports or comps? Ports or comps? Ports or comps? And I'm like, okay, so might as well answer it here. With ports, okay, you're drilling into the barrel, so you're usually starting, like maybe the mid of the barrel and porting it outward to the end. On a comp, you're screwing it on the end of the barrel. So which one's going to have more of a velocity loss? Of course, the comped, the ported. The ported, you're going to have more velocity loss. On some of these short barrels, you don't need a velocity loss, and it could only be 50 to 75 psi, which isn't a lot, but if it means a bullet expanding correctly or opening all the way up or penetrating or whatever, that's where I have a problem with porting, unless it's a 5-inch barrel. Um, Not, would I still own a ported gun? Yeah, I don't have any currently. Um, but I do prefer a comp at the end of the barrel because you're not losing any velocity. That's my opinion. Take it for what you want. I'm not saying it's wrong or right. It's just I want to try to keep all the velocity that I potentially can. And I've shot both. I like both. As far as the blast, there's no difference to me. And even as I've said before, if I had a passenger, somebody was trying to bust the passenger window out and grab my passenger, and I had to go across and shoot, and my passenger's there, could they get a blast from a comp or a port? Yes, they could. But if it means saving their life, it is what it is. I've shot, close up, like, how people, they'll grab their head and shoot up close. I've done that with my comped guns. I've done it with a ported gun. I don't really notice a difference. It's not like it's blasting crap all in my face. So, you know, but just for that reason. Now, the benefit of the port over the comp is you don't have to have a longer holster. So there's that too. So whatever you want to do. What's up, Titus? How are you, man? Tactical gray. Let's see here. PT 101. Yeah. Like I said, it's whatever you like. Let's see here. Titus is saying, well, let's see here. It kicked off. Been a while since I've watched a live one. I've been thinking of getting a red dot, Sealy, or Swamp Fox, maybe even a closed red dot for my Arex L Gen 2. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I know a lot of people, some are not a lot, but I know some people are not in the red dot world, or, they're like, oh, it's weird, it's different. I prefer irons. I shoot great with irons. If you shoot great with irons, you're going to shoot even better with a dot, because when you're front sight focused, you're doing that and you're focusing on your front sight and your target, but you're not aware of all this other shit that's going on. But if you can just throw a gun up and superimpose the dot onto the person and your target focused, you can see if there's another bad guy here, another bad guy here. You still got your peripheral. You're not focused on that little bitty ass front sight. And with my eyes, it's a problem focusing on front sights. So, it's just, I mean, I can shoot faster. I can shoot more accurate. I can, see everything around me. If there's multiple bad guys, you can transition quicker. Um, there's no, people are like, oh, the battery could go dead or whatever. I mean, I've seen sights fall off of freaking guns. Sights just fall off of a gun. I've had it happen. It even flew off in a video. I'm shooting it, woo, thing just flies off. So, and it was a metal sight. It wasn't a plastic lock sight. So anything can happen. But even if, and here's another plus, you've got a dot, it's on your gun. If that battery went dead, if it went dead, I can put that square or that circle, if it's an SRO, I can put that right there. And I remember, because I've been shooting them so long, I remember where the frick that dot goes. I can put that circle right there. I'm talking about the outer edge of that dot. I can put it right there and I can hit you right where that dot was. Even if the battery goes dead, I can use it as a field goal post. You can't get that if your sight falls off. What do you got? You ain't got shit. So you can use the frame to frame your bad guy, even if you have no battery. I've shown that. I've turned the dot completely off. I've taped the front, and I've just used the little square or the circle or the oblong, whatever your dot is. I've used the frame to frame someone in the picture to shoot them. or shoot, the silhouette. So that gives you that benefit too. And you're not going to break a dot completely off. And, well, I'm not saying you couldn't, but not these acros and things. Let's see here. Oh, you got the old Alex has the PO7 Duty. That's the curve trigger. Yeah, those were the OG ones. Ooh, Abigail's hitting me with the bad stuff. Favorite camo pattern? Man, call me boring, but I'm a multicam guy. I've got some other stuff. Got tiger stripes. Matter of fact, look at this. Woo! Got the midnight camo. Look at that. Yeah, I love camo. I'm definitely a camo person. Some people are like, "Oh, that camo pattern's old school." Okay, call me old school. I want a 1911 with a double action, single action trigger with a decocker. I've got one. My first gun was that. Titus says, "Yeah, no, I love irons, but I just got a hair up my butt when I bought an optic ready AREX, so I want to start with a more affordable red dot." Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, man. Some of these affordable ones run really, really well. The ones I've tested, the Seatleys, are doing really good. And hell, I've now I didn't do it to the bear because they asked me not to freeze it, but I did soak it in water. Um, hell, it set. I left it on the gun, but I set the whole gun down in water, so the whole optic was underwater for what was it, like 48 hours? No problems there, no fogging, no leaking, no nothing like that. But the Sealy, the other one, the small one, the Cat Pro, I froze it, made it a whole block of ice. You can watch the video. I broke it right in front of y'all. We dug it out of there. The only things that happens when it froze and contracted, it pushed the buttons in and sent it into a limp mode or a lockout mode. But I got it unlocked. But that was just because both of the buttons were pushed in at the same time because it froze. Um, Still works great. I mean, so far those have been really reliable. And the funny thing about those is like the Sealy Cat Pro, even with my astigmatism, it's actually pretty damn crisp. I mean, it's pretty. So far, it's a pretty good dot. Yep. My SRO. I mean, I love the SRO. I really do. I had it on my Shadow 2, set it in the safe, didn't play with it for a while, picked it up one day, and instead of the dot being in the center, it was all the way up in the right top, and I'm like, or in the right corner, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm looking at it, and I'm like, nobody shot this gun. So I'm like, why is this? So I tried to adjust it. I couldn't. I mean, even when I went to the range, I couldn't bring it back to center. I had no more adjustment left. So I called Trijicon and talked to them. They were really nice, and they called it a reticle detachment. It's basically where the reticle, it knows where it should be, and it just breaks loose and just goes floats up to the top. So they replaced it. They were going to fix it, but they decided they couldn't fix it, so they just sent me a new dot. It was still under warranty. Yes. If you do, Alex, if you do get the new PO7, it's called a, oh, what's the actual name of it? Caught up. Um, Convertible. It's another word, but basically, yes, it does come with the comes with a decocker on it, but safety in the box, and you can easily change them. Super easy. Um, so yeah, you can run the safety cocked and locked like a 1911, or you can run it. And actually, if you run it with the safety, you get a little bit better trigger because it takes the decocker out of the trigger. So the trigger is better even on the double action and single action. But if you run the decocker, it's a little harsher double action. But yes, you can. It's called a convertible, I believe, is what they call it. Yeah, and I'm not knocking anybody that's still shooting irons. I remember back when everybody bought AR-15s, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna run irons on my AR-15s." Then all of a sudden, the next thing, everybody that buys an AR now puts a red dot on it. Kind of the same with what's going to happen eventually to pistols. Yeah, it's called an Omega, but since it came with the safety, all of them are the new flatter trigger is called an Omega. The other one was called a Duty, the curved trigger. But it was also known as the convertible because you could change it to a safety or a decocker. It was just the side note. Everybody called it a convertible, I believe. Yeah, and I mean, I've done it. I've changed some of the decockers over to safeties and tried it for a while. Then I was like, oh, I'll just go back to the decocker. I mean, and I'm used to carrying cocked and locked, but here's the problem I have. I mean, on all my 1911s, 2011s, I carry cocked and locked. But I got big old mitts. So the safeties on those on 1911s and 2011s are fine. The PO9 and PO7 have flat safeties. There's no ledge. So my big ass fingers can't hit them. So that's the problem I have and why I run decockers on the PO7 and the PO9. Because in a quick situation, when you're coming out and trying to hit that, I'm going to miss it. And that's the way I tested it. And I was hitting it half ass, and I could not get a good ledge or a good purchase on it. So I went back to decockers on those guns because they don't make a ledge. If they made where you could push it in and you had a real safety, like a flat ledge safety, hell yeah, I'd run every one of them cocked and locked. Yeah, there's two versions, trigger bar. There's two versions of the PO1 as well. There is the PO1 original or the OG, and there's the PO1 Omega. They make two versions. Um, yeah, Holosun makes a great dot. I can't really shoot the P10S. It's just too small for my hands. Yeah, the easiest way, Titus, to make those triggers better is just go shoot them for the PO7 and PO9. How about a double action only 1911 with a 4 pound trigger? I mean, yeah, trigger weight does not bother me. I mean, like I've got double action, single actions. I mean, hell, on my Shadow 2, the double action it's like 4.3 pounds, and my single action is like 3 pounds 1 ounce. I've got a video on it after I tricked it out, and my Tanfo is the same way. I don't think adding a safety from the decocker will actually change the pull weight of the trigger. It actually does. On the PO7, not the on a PO1, you have to buy the regular PO1 or the PO1 Omega. Those are not interchangeable. Only on the polymers. The PO7 and the PO9, you can run the safety. It comes in the box, or it comes with the decocker. And when you put the safety in it, it does make the trigger lighter. Just slightly, but it does make it lighter. Yeah, they did discontinue the PO1 Omega. Also on the Omega, you can't do as much tricking out as you can on the original PO1. Yeah, they did discontinue them. That's why they were blowing them all out. There's still places that still have them. Yeah, Colt is kind of known for that. CZ bought Colt just for the contracts. The PO1, I like the regular PO1. I just don't like the trigger. But I don't like the hook trigger. But you can actually buy the Shadow 2 trigger, the flatter one, and put it in the PO1. It's just a shorter version, but you can do that. Yeah, the PO7 and the PO9 always came from the factory with the decocker, but then the safety was in the box. And you got to like pull it out real slow, and you can put a pin in the other side as you're pulling it out. And then when you get that out, you just put the other side in and then snap it on, kind of like you do with the Shadow 2. A lot of people don't know this, but the Shadow 2 safety, the big old safety, will actually fit the TSO as well. It just goes right in. There's no milling or sanding or polishing. It just snaps right in. So even on my TSO, because I did not like that ledge, it was too short. So I put a Shadow 2 safety in the TSO. Yeah, trigger bar, you can Cajuниze the Omega. They're just not as, you can get the regular PO1 from even Cajun Gunworks. They can make it even lighter on the triggers. There's just more parts they can do to it. Yeah, a lot of people ask. I did change the name of my channel. I went back. If y'all, the OGs, will probably remember, I started YouTube as just Big Johnson before I added the guns and gear. So I went back to Big Johnson. Everybody knows I'm a gun channel or a whatever channel. And also, I wanted to change it from guns and gear because sometimes I want to talk about other stuff. If I want to do, accessories or something like that, as far as even on my truck or something, like that. I just, I mean, everybody knows I'm a gun guy that knows me. So I just wanted to go back to the original Big Johnson. And I kind of did kind of a poll between a bunch of friends of mine. Y'all know some of them: Harry's Holsters, Humble Marksman, even Chris from the 740. I just started asking a bunch of people, hey, do you like Big Johnson Guns and Gear? Big Johnson. I was just going to go BJGG for Big Johnson Guns and Gear, just the abbreviations. And I had already pretty much set on Big Johnson, and everybody picked Big Johnson. So that's why I kept it. Titus Hole, yep. I see that. I saw that when you first came on. I was like, okay, if you say it's low. But anyway. All right, well, we went about 32 minutes over, so I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. If y'all have any questions, comments, anything like that, please leave it after the chat. I'll get to it. Let's see. Big Johnson, just noticed you passed 20K. When did that happen? Long ago when I'm dense. Yeah, it happened a while ago. Matter of fact, I think YouTube has really stunted my growth. It just kind of died off. But I'm not in it for, being 100,000 subscribers and all that. I mean, we've got a good family here. I appreciate all of y'all. Y'all are family members is what I call y'all. Y'all know that. But, it is what it is. If I grow, I grow. If I don't, I don't. I'm not too worried about that. The PO1, if I have to shoot, and if you go way, way back, I did a video of myself shooting the PO1 and the PO1 Omega. So I did a comparison between the two guns. Here's what I like: the PO1 Omega trigger. I like the flatter trigger better. I said that. But in shooting those two, the PO1 Omega drives me crazy because of where the little decocker dealie is. And when I'm gripping it, it actually grinds into my thumb. I mean, it just chews me up because my hands are so big. Most people will never, ever have that problem. But for me, it drove me crazy. So I personally can't shoot the PO1 Omega very good. I mean, I could shoot it fine. Don't get me wrong. It was still as accurate. It's just, man, it was right into that freaking knuckle, and it just drove me crazy. I mean, it was like blood. I think I shot it like 15 times, and then I showed it on camera, and you could just see blood like inside the skin. It's just my hand size. There's a lot of guns I will not even shoot because of my hand size. Ooh, Clyde's got a good question. Had to step away for a while. What is the absolute smallest pistol you would carry? Okay, I mean, I'm gonna rephrase it this way. The smallest pistol I would feel comfortable about carrying. And what I mean, I could carry a tiny, tiny ass pistol. I could just stick it in my pants and it would be there. However, when the buzzer goes off or shit goes down, how quick could I get it out of my pants? That's what I struggle with because of my hand size. If I go down and grab a little nub, little small ass grip gun, it sucks. That's one reason I never carried the little 365, the regular one. It's too damn tiny. If I go down and like I'll even, beep, I'll set my buzzer at home and I just drive fire trying to grab those small ones and I can't grab them. I miss them 7 out of 10 times, 6 out of 10 times, 5 out of 10 times. That's too many damn times. So the smallest one I feel comfortable carrying that I won't miss the grip is the P10C because I have XXL hands. They're not small. Most people don't have that problem. I also own the Shield 45. I have the Shield, the regular OG Shield, but I've got extensions on those, so I can grab those too. But the most comfortable I feel comfortable carrying is going to be the P10C. Yes, I could carry smaller, but would I be as fast with them? Can I get them in my pants as fast? Go to work if I had to. That's what I look at. I'm not looking at, oh, I just want the smallest, pocket carry. I'm not worried about that. I'm not that guy. So, but I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. If y'all have any questions after this, leave them. I'll be glad to answer them for you. It's fun that we got to go a little longer. And, next week, Trigger Bar will be on. So please join us then. North American Arms. Yeah, that thing's small. Woo. Yeah, and I've shot them, man. And it's like pink, pink, pink. I mean, it's little sucker. They're cool, but man, they're tiny. They are tiny. Yeah. But y'all take care. Have a great night. And remember, an unarmed nation's a very weak nation. So we all got to carry on. Take care, everyone. Y'all be safe out there. Love one another.